Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Ready, Set, Smart webinar series, where we are providing weekly opportunities highlighting how SMART can provide a fluid workflow of blended learning that benefits all students. We'll show you how to create lessons and activities focused on classroom instructional strategies. My name is Teddy Kambarov, and I'm a professional development specialist from North Carolina. This week's webinar, Make Learning Visible Using Smart Tools, features Jennifer Underwood, a professional development specialist from Florida. We're glad you're with us today. And so at this point, I'm going to turn things over to Jennifer so that we can dive into today's webinar, Make Learning Visible Using Smart Tools.
Thank you, Teddy. I appreciate it. So like Teddy said, we're going to be doing our Make Learning Visible with using some of the smart tools that we have here on my smart board itself. So get ready, get set, and get smart. So a little bit about me. My name is Jennifer Underwood. Like she said, I'm a professional development specialist here in Florida. And here's a few things of those many hats that education strive to do, and gives us that different perspective and that view into the classroom and into the future. So those years in the class as a classroom teacher were definitely impactful, and I'm excited to be able to share with you guys now through some of our smart tools. So currently, I am running my notebook software in my input source, my HDMI 1. So in order to use the smart notebook tools, you would be tethered or connected to your device with your USB and your HDMI cord. So HDMI cord is bringing you all of the audio video, and my USB cord is providing me that touch opportunity where I could touch some things if they weren't locked and I could move them around. And I can also grab my pen and my dynamic floating pen tools show up on my screen. You'll get to see them a little bit better if you can't, but hopefully through my Zoom screen sharing, you can see things, not only me at the board, but really be paying attention on the actual screen itself. Here we have all of our pens. Right, I'm going to slide this one around to see our pens. And we can write over things. We can draw attention to things with our arrow. Here's my calligraphy pen, one of my favorites. We're also going to look at some tools that you may have in your toolbox. So the magnifier, the screen shade, or the screen capture. Another part of our tools smart notebook is also our document viewer. I'm going to open up document viewer and show you what that may like contained on that page to be able to share out with students. We're going to go into our browser, explore some more. So
Hey, Jennifer, sorry to interrupt. Your mic is coming in a little bit choppy. We can still hear you, but if there's, I don't know if there's any fix for it, but just to let you know.
Thank you. Let's see. Press the audio a couple times and see.
That sounds
Anything
good. Yeah,
better?
I hear it a lot clearer. Thanks.
Okay, I just clicked something that said call ended, so I'm glad you're still there. So we're going to look at the opening up a web browser and being able to write and use our tools over the web browser. Here are some of those images of what it looks like inside of Smart Ink. We're in our Smart Toolbox. We'll slide these over here. We're going to set up a favorite. I'll show you what that looks like. We're going to start with some stickies. Can you still hear me all right? Good, good.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. So here's some of our toolbox pieces, our pen pieces, tools. And then what does it look to just really dive in a little bit deeper right from our laptop on the board. So not only is it projecting the things that we need, it is also giving us access to those dynamic tools to make visible learning for all students. I'm going to minimize this if I can find it on my, first I'll start with closing out my full screen and minimizing. All right, so here you can see my extended device, and I'm going to just start writing. I picked up that pen. I'm going to start writing right from the board, and it has made a sticky. It's a big long word, so hopefully my sticky will be pretty big. We're going to look a little bit about the Mars rover today. So something exciting that's happened not too long ago. Thinking of today being on March 1st and kind of checking in to see what's going on. So to do that, you can see that I have just used one of my saved pens here. I'm going to click my pen, going to select from my rotary tools that move around, and I have a variety of colors. So I have the MX panel board, which has two pens, and both of my pens are just kind of white, and I get to pick and customize each of them as I go. So let's go back to our pens. Let's say I want to do red, and I want to just create a regular pen. So maybe I'm going to write red planet. Maybe I want to access my pen again. And there's three dots off to the side of my toolbar where I can pick from a variety of different pens, right? So I have a pen, I have a highlighter, I have my calligraphy pen that I really enjoy using. But let's say I just want to like highlight over some text. We'll show the highlighter one when we're in our document viewer. I also maybe want to pull up my magic pen. Let's say I'm going to just write something. And as I write, you can see here, there's my R has stayed. And as I write, the magic pen starts to erase and delete as we go. So maybe it's like an answer to a quiz question or a secret word that you want students to see and really grab attention to. But then as it disappears, you can check back and see who was paying attention, see who remembers what that magic word was for the day. I also have a whole bunch of different colors, right? If I want to color code any of my colors that are not there, teal would be nice. Go for like a really deep purple. I can also increase the thickness of my pen. So let's say I'm going to have a pen that's purple. And it's quite large, right? So let's write Earth, talking about all the different planets, talking about the Mars rover. We can write Earth. Let's say I love this purple pen. This pen is something that I'm going to use quite frequently. I'm going to rotate it around my star. And I'm going to click the plus button. I'm going to click pen. And it's already been selected because it's the last one I just used. So I have pen, purple, and thicker weight. I'm going to add it to my favorites. So now go back to my pen. So now you can see that that bubble got a little larger, right? I'm going to put my pen here for a second. I have a hand dynamic toolbar with my hand, and you can even see the same favorites that I've saved. I have my purple pen. Here, we'll close my sticky and we'll make a new one, right? We'll grab my purple pen. We'll start to write planets. Hope I don't fall off the side. Planets. And I also have a green pen here that I've saved, right? So we're going to just write sun. And you might have also seen I had a smiley face stamper and I have my calligraphy pen. To do that, I'm going to select my pen and I'm on my star. Pretty easy. You just click your edit, and I can even save a stamp if I want. I have a picture of the Mars rover or a picture of Earth. I could create a stamp out of it, or I could also save one of my tools. So let's look a little bit farther into the tools. With the tools, and I'm on this black backboard, so hopefully you can see. Here's our spotlight. There's nothing really good to share here, but I'm going to show you this when we open up one of our documents. You also can capture some things. Maybe I need to capture something from my device, from the instruction that I'm using. I can use any of the capture tools. I'm also going to use this way to convert my text into typing and open up Google. So at the bottom of my device, I've selected my browser. And because I'm on extended screen, every now and then it likes to throw it around to different places. So I'm going to maximize that page. I'm going to go to my pen tools. I'm already in Google, but let's say we're going to continue to talk about our Mars rover, right? So I'm going to pick this tool where my pen, it's going to convert the ink to text. So I'm going to write Mars rover. This comes in handy when you don't want to have to type with the keyboard. You want to be able to write something right in. It's converted it to text. I'm good with that. And now it says touch where you'd like it to insert. So I can open up my Google browser. I can search for my Mars rover, NASA Mars website. And maybe I want to, from my toolbox, quickly add a screen shade. Maybe I'm not ready for students to see everything that I have pulled up in my Google webpage, but I know I want to kind of entice them and get them excited. Maybe I want to throw a shout out there, or maybe their students are in front of me, so I'm going to ask them to do a fist of 5 of what they know already. 1, I know a whole bunch about the Mars. I don't know that much about the Mars rover, and 5, I know a whole bunch about the Mars rover. So I'm going to secretively share some information. Maybe my first question is, well, what color do you think they've found on this planet? And then continue to have some of those, some exciting discussions that hopefully students will lead and interact with. I can also click on my screen shade, and I can use my colors as a way to send out some reminders. I liked the, once you see that the board is yellow, then it's time to, you have 5 minutes left and kind of stuff like that. So I'm just going to close it in the top right hand corner with my X. So here we're on a website called Mars. It's a NASA website, mars.nasa, but I know you can't really see that too great if you're just watching from where you're at. But I can use my magnifier and I can bring it up here so that you're able to see what that website address is. Even though the text is really small, I can magnify it for students to see. Or I can use that same magnifier somewhere else on the page, and I can highlight and magnify parts of an image or something that students may want. I can share these images so that they can see it. I can rearrange this if I need it to be larger. I can move it all over the place. And then I simply close it by clicking the X on the top right corner. So let's say I want to go to this gallery, right? So we have tons of different pictures and access to all kinds of stuff on this Mars rover website. Let's say I want to pull up this image, and I can use my hands to move it around if it is something that is movable. I'm going to click enlarge here so that we can see it, but maybe I want to write over. I can use my pens that I've been working with, like here's some pitted rocks. Maybe I want to pull up my green favorite pen and talk about this hill of sand that they found here. And what do students think it's important for and the significance of? And maybe they're having some group discussions or turning and talking to their partner, and they're actually visibly seeing the things that I'm pulling up on Google, being able to access and use my tools to highlight and showcase things. Let's say we want to capture some of this. So we have a portion of this picture that we want to capture. I can click my capture, and it can be a freeform picture, a selected space, which seems to be the default one. So let's say I want to capture this. Oops, I messed it up. Let's try it again. I did it too quickly. Find where my tools went. They probably went to my other device, right? My extended version. So let's see where I'll start writing. And troubleshooting a little bit. Let's find my tools. Make sure, since I'm extended, they are showing, of course, on my laptop that's connected. Instead of mirrored, I have it extended. So I'm going to go back to my toolbox and I want to capture. It's just the image with the camera that you can see. So when I click capture and use my finger to slide, I can capture a portion of that picture, and it's going to let me decide, what do I want to do with it? Is it something I've just captured to share with everyone? Maybe I'll save it on my desktop, or maybe it's something that I've decided after we've worked on it, I don't really need it, so I can remove it. But I can share it out even if it's on my desktop, put it in Google Classroom, put it in an assignment in a different learning platform system, because it is all now on my desktop of my actual computer device. So we've looked at showcasing and spotlighting some images or some text. We've magnified a portion of our picture or maybe the URL so students can see where we're at, or anything that might be too small for students to see if they are physically sitting in your classroom space. We've also used our screen shade, kind of give away some images or some information slowly, a little bit at a time. We've captured some things. We've used our convert text, and we've also looked at ways to create some favorites that you can then use when you're on your website. So I'm going to put my pen here because I know I like to touch things and everything happens, but I'm going to open up a PDF file that I have. So some of my saved resources, I have a nice PDF here that has my some text on it that's going to build some background, even more than we've already done in our Google site. I'm going to open this. So what you saw, and I'll do it again, is I long pressed, started a note. Look at that. I'm going to press and hold on my Mars text selection. I'm going to click Open with Smart Document Viewer. And from my Smart Document Viewer, now you can see that I have my article here. I can enlarge it. So instead of this opening up just in a regular preview software or something that you might have native on your laptop, it is opening up through our smart tools, so through Smart Document Viewer. So now when I pick up my pen and I draw some attention to some of the images, or I say, look, the rover landed on March 28th, 2001. Maybe we're going to annotate this together. I'm going to slide with one finger going up. I'm going to find my pen tools again. I'm going to look at our highlighter. We're going to find a green highlighter, maybe a little bit thicker. And the word, here, I'll slide these over so they're not in our way. And I'm going to highlight some words that maybe students aren't aware of or we have to build more vocabulary on. So perseverance, microbes would definitely be something that we might want to bring up and talk about more, not only in our maybe current events topics, but in science. Maybe instruments and the different kinds of instruments. So as you can see, we can go through, I can actually turn my finger into a pen as well if I don't have enough space. So think about if I'm at the board highlighting as the teacher, I pass my pen off to a student. Now I can have another student who can also be highlighting, right? I have two different ones. They're both going to be the same though. So keep in mind that both of my pens will end up being the same color, which is fine because that's the kind of board I have. But we also have the option of turning my finger or another student's finger, right? Following social distancing, but another participant can also maybe be circling some stuff in red. So we have multiple things that could be happening with all of the different tools that we have here. Oh, we see the word integrity. So while this ink is all native, I'm going to bring my finger back to a cursor or I'll forget. It all stays right here in my document so that if we've done this together, students can now get a copy of it in any of my learning platforms. So I'm going to, you can see here I have some tools. I can print this if I wanted. If my laptop, since it's connected, is connected also to a printer, I can zoom out, I can zoom in, I can do a variety of things right from the tools I have in my Smart Document Viewer tools. And then when I'm done with it, I can go to the close it and decide, do I want to save this and come back to it? Well, I probably do, because this might be something we've worked on together as a class, and then I'm going to push it out for everyone to have their own copy of it. So I'm just going to say yes. It's going to ask me, where do I want to save it? We'll just save it right to my desktop and replace the old. So if I wanted to keep a copy, I could have my original, but then I also have now my new copy and my new version. So a lot of great things can happen using the smart tools that are available through your smart software. Another great tool besides our smart ink, right, with all of our many different pens, your toolbox, your adding things to favorites, is I also have Smart Recorder. So Smart Recorder, since I'm plugged in, is actually on my taskbar, but on my device. So I would find my Smart Notebook icon, which is that little blue square with the circles, and I can pull up Smart Recorder. So here, when I start to record, it's going to ask me, because I'm plugged in, which device do I want to record from? I'm going to record from number 2. So now I can pull back up my Google document. And as you can see, the recording has started. And I can share this when I'm done. This might be instruction that I know students are going to be absent for, or maybe students are going to need to do some follow-up for it. So anything I record, maybe it's a flipped classroom opportunity, and I'm going to do some things for tomorrow that students will need to do some tasks based on the learning that I've recorded from today's session. So as I move between pages, here we'll close this out. And maybe we're going to go back to some multimedia images. And this is just the NASA website. So all kinds of things that you can pull up and find from here. And it's going to record each step in the way that I move through these pages. So let's say I stop or pause my recording. Well, I can stop it. And then it'll ask me to save my recording. It's going to be a .wmv, so it's a movie file that I can share out within my learning platforms to students, for students to view on their own, or for use in a different capacity depending upon how your workflow is in the classroom. So I'm actually not going to save it. I'm just going to cancel that. And yes, I'm sure I want to delete that particular one. So I'm just minimizing it. I wanted to have access to show you during this time together. So a lot of great things. We realize that was fast and furious, but I want to share with you, let's go back to full screen. I want to share with you something that you're able to then do on your own. See, I don't have any ink, right? I know I was making a mess out of everything. All right. So we're going to ask as a challenge that you find 3 things that you saw inside of Smart Ink, any of the smart tools, all the different tools that you had. So choose 3 Smart Ink tools to use in your active learning experience with students. So it might be ink, changing the pen, adding different sizes or thicknesses or different kinds of pens, adding a favorite, creating a new pen or a new tool that you can access quickly in your favorites, or any of the toolbars. So discover the power of the toolbars, the spotlight, the magnifier, the capture tool. How can you add these wonderful tools when you are connected and you're utilizing your HDMI 1 or 2 from your input source, from your actual board or panel yourself? So we'd love to hear about some of your exciting things that you've put into practice. If you'll share those out at our Smart PLN, you can also provide the hashtag Smart Champions or hashtag We Are Smart. We would love to hear from you. I guess I should ask, how are we doing with questions?
No questions in the chat so far, but I am here to answer them.
All right, awesome. Well, like I said, you have seen a lot of stuff. I'm going to slide my little tools and things over. We also have a variety of resources that will be accessible to you even after our webinar. So if you click on our resources, you can get started with our teacher guides that have just been recently updated. You can see here's our social media hashtags and places to follow. Blended learning, all of our additional smart webinars are available for you to register for. The teacher guides, like I had said, not only for our tools, but there's also teacher guides right for Smart Notebook as well as your boards. So that's exciting with all of those instructional strategies and lessons to learn as you're working with the tools. Things to integrate. So if you're using other tools in your classroom and you really want to make that integration and make it make sense and purposeful, we have some great tools and videos for you to see for that as well.
All right, no questions. Well, thank you, Jennifer. I'm going to go ahead and end our webinar for today.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for attending.
Thank you, everyone.